While we are all preparing to celebrate our veterans on November 11th, we have to acknowledge the fact that not all war heroes are service members. That was particularly true during World War II, where everyday people showed extraordinary bravery. And now a new documentary will share the story about a Grand Rapids family trapped in the Netherlands as told by someone who was there. Marianne Takens, she's an 87-year-old West Michigander born in the Netherlands. Joining us here today, she's from a family of 8. Tina Miller is the director and the producer of The Long Way Home. Ladies, thanks so much for being with us.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So, Marianne, let's talk a little bit about your story. Can you tell us kind of what happened during World War II with your family?
Yeah. I'd like to explain, first of all, why it is that we got stuck there.
Yeah.
My parents were married here. My mother born here in Grand Rapids, but my dad, a Dutch citizen, and he met my mother, and they had 4 children. Then in 1933, in order to get away from the Depression here, they decided to go to the Netherlands for a year, hoping the Depression would be done after a year. And so they just loaned all of their stuff because people were desperate, for appliances and what have you, with the intention in a year to get it all back. So there they went in 1933. With 4 children. The oldest is only 4 and a half, Oof. If you can picture that.
Yeah, no. No.
Yeah.
And
but then when the year was up, they decided they couldn't come back because the Depression was just as bad here. Unemployment 25%. And my dad had only a 6th grade education in the Netherlands. And since he was 4 years old, he was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Wow.
So neither physically nor mentally was there much for him to do.
Sure.
So, but at least there, his family, his father had plenty of money. And so they paid the rent then to they furnished everything. The only thing we owned was the clothes on our back. We didn't own anything during 14 years.
Yeah.
So we lived there then during the 1930s. In 1934, my sister was born, so that was 5 children. 4 years later, I was born, so that was 6 children.
Wow.
And but then in the meantime, Hitler became chancellor in Germany the same year, 1933, that my parents went to the Netherlands. And his intent was to get back all the land Sure. that was taken from them as a result of the treaty that ended World War I. So the Allies of Great Britain and France just appeased him. They didn't want another world war.
Sure.
But then came September of 39, where Hitler invaded Poland. Mm-hmm. So then the Allies decided we've crossed the red line. And they decided to declare war. Well, the U.S. government then notified all embassies in Europe, tell the Americans to go home. Go home. So my mother got that letter.
Yeah.
And, but then they wouldn't give my dad a visa.
Okay. So then you were stuck.
So we were stuck.
Yeah.
So they did a second round after they found out not everyone had left. So my mother got that letter again. And still couldn't get a visa. So a third time got that letter. And this time they decided, let's get on that train, let's take that 2-hour drive to Amsterdam to the American embassy and let's personally talk to them.
Okay.
So that's what they did.
Okay.
But as soon as my dad opened his mouth, the person told my dad, keep quiet. We're talking to your wife. She's the American.
Yeah.
My mother used to love to tell that story.
I bet she did.
That wasn't normal for
Right.
her to be the speaker.
Right.
But the U.S. in 1930 added a clause to our immigration, telling people who issue the visas, don't allow anyone in that you think will become a burden to America.
Okay.
So that of course eliminated my dad.
Right.
So consequently, and I would love to have had a recording of that 2-hour ride back home from Amsterdam. And I'm sure they spent some of that time sitting there in prayer.
Absolutely.
What do we do? What do we do?
Yeah, that's a hard spot to be in.
Yeah. So consequently, we lived there during the war. And eventually, it became very obvious that we were there for a reason, because the Allies, be they American, be they Canadian, be they British, be they Scottish, they all had one thing in common. They all spoke English. And they were delighted if they could find natives that could speak English.
Sure.
And in cities like Rotterdam and Amsterdam, that was no problem. But you get to our little rural town, Stadskanaal, the only one there was my parents.
Yeah.
So as Allied pilots would be shot down going over the Netherlands, many of these men would come to our house
Sure.
to find rescue, and for my parents then, delighted to be in a home where people could speak English.
I bet.
They always were eager to. Or another occasion during the war, the Allies were coming down the main street and headed right into a Nazi ambush. And my father knew that because of his involvement in the Dutch underground movement. And so he hopped on a bike. He didn't have any tires anymore. We couldn't get tires during the war. So he hopped on that bike to meet these people, this crew that was coming, and telling them, you're heading right into a Nazi ambush. So he hopped in the front tank, hid down below because everybody in the neighborhood knew my dad. So he had to keep hidden. And he would tell them where to go, what other alternative route to take so they wouldn't run into that ambush.
Oh my goodness. Now, Mary, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have to get to the documentary. I know you have so many stories. So Tina, talk to us quickly about, taking her story and making this into a story that we can all enjoy.
Yeah.
So it was quite extraordinary, as I'm sitting here listening to her story, and she had all the memorabilia that her family had brought back. It was almost like you go into the story with them, and I know that it was probably similar experience for Marion, that she probably felt like she was reliving it, and we talked about that a few times, and so she had tried to put this story out in a couple different ways through her church. And so to put it to film, to have more people, a larger audience hear this story was, I was very honored to be able to do that for her.
I love that. All right, so let's talk about how we can all see this.
So, it's going to be on PBS.
Yep.
On Veterans Day, they're going to have it after Frontline at 11 p.m. And then they will do another encore show Sunday at 1 p.m.
Okay.
It will also be available on the PBS app nationally.
Awesome.
So anybody will be able to download it and watch it. And it's an extraordinary story, and she tells it so, there's emotion to it, but the optimism and the faith that her family carries is really, really special to hear.
And we are so grateful for everything your family did. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I can't wait to hear more. I wish we had more time to sit and chat with you. But thank you so much, Marion. So again, airs on PBS, WGVU, on Veterans Day at 11 p.m., then November 16th at 1, and then nationally on the PBS app. So make sure you find this, changingtomorrowforus.org for more. We'll be right back.